In this lesson, we will learn web automation. Before we begin, let's review the key points learned in the previous lessons. Command consists of three components: context, target, and action type. In web automation, this structure manifests as follows. On a specific web page object, perform a specific operation on a specified element. Among them, web page object corresponds to context, and there are two ways to get it. First, use open web page to open a page, after which the system automatically obtains it. Second, use get specified web page to obtain a page that is already open, such as a page prepared in advance, or a page that pops up by clicking an element. Web page element corresponds to target. To capture an element, you need to hover the mouse over the specified element on the target web page, hold down the Control key, and left-click the mouse. To capture similar elements, first capture one element, then capture another. At this point, the system will find the max similarity between these two elements, then search the web page for all elements that match this similarity and return them. Web page operations correspond to action type and fall into two categories: interactive operations, including click, input, hover, etc., and retrieval operations, including getting text, information, position, etc. Now that we've got that foundation down, we're going to start diving into the core content of web automation. This lesson will walk you through how to use key commands, teach you practical tips for setting up flows efficiently, and also share ways to handle common special scenarios. By the end, your practical web automation skills will get a full-on boost. In daily web page operations, we often need to extract some key information from the page. For example, if you want to get the first title on this page, first, use get specified web page to obtain the current web page object, then capture this title element on the page and name it Playground Stories Title 1. If you want to get the text of the specified element, you can use get element details and pick the captured title as the target. Besides text information, you can also get the element source code, value, URL, and other related info. Rename the output element text to Title1 text and use print to print this variable. Click Run, and it'll print out correctly. What if our goal is to capture all the post titles on the current page? On this page, all post titles are a group of elements with max similarity. That means they fit the definition of a similar element. Capture this group of similar elements directly. There are 5 elements total, so name it Playground Stories Title Similar Element Group. Next, you need to loop through this group of elements to get each element's text content. You can either choose to get the text directly in loop through similar elements, or use get element details in the loop body to grab the element's text. And you can also select it directly in the variable. Run it, and the titles will print out one by one. All the methods above retrieve these title texts one by one. So what if I want to get all the titles in one go? You can just use get similar elements directly. The final result will be data in a list structure. If you choose to get the element object, you'll get a list of element objects in return. If you choose to get the element text, you'll get a list of element texts instead, and so on. Since I want the text content here, I just select text directly, rename the returned text list to title text list, and hit done. Print out the list. Run it. And you'll have all the titles from the current page. Now, we not only want to get the post titles, but also want to get the post body content, labels, save counts, like counts, comment counts, and other types of data. If we still use the previous method, we'd have to manually capture each group of similar elements one by one, and then create many command entries. Obviously, that's super inefficient. This is where we need to bring in a much more powerful feature, extract data. You can find this command in the panel on the left, or directly click the Extract Data button at the top. After you click it, you'll enter the familiar element capture interface. Hover your mouse over the first title, hold down Control, and left click. The system will automatically capture all the titles on this page and write them into column A of the data table on the right, which is similar to Excel. Then capture the body content, all labels, save counts, like counts, and comment counts. This data will be written into the data table in sequence. Rename the data to Stories Title List and hit Done. In this command, you can also choose whether to capture multiple pages. If you want to do that, you need to specify the next page element. Let's go ahead and capture it. Then name it Playground Stories Next Page. Hit Done and run it to check the effect. You'll see the bot automatically turns pages while capturing data. After the run finishes, it might look like you can't see the captured data. Did the run fail? Don't worry, the data is actually stored in the data table at the bottom. There are a total of 20 rows of data. The Stories page has 5 posts per page, and there are 4 pages total. The counts are consistent. One thing to note is that data table is a simplified version of Excel. It's mainly used for temporary data storage, so it's recommended that you back up your data in a timely manner. You can use Export Data Table to save the captured data to local. Set the folder path to your desktop and rename the file to Stories List. Refresh the page, then run the process again. Open the corresponding folder and you'll see the generated file. Open it. At this point, you'll definitely notice something. The data has increased, going from 20 rows to 40 rows. What's going on here? That's because we've done the data capture operation twice total, and each time the captured data gets added to the data table instead of overwriting the existing data. So how do we get the data table to only show the results from a single run? The easiest way is to clear the data table first before each write operation. You can use the Clear Data Table. No extra configuration is needed. Just drag it to the first line of the workflow. Refresh the page and run the process again. The program will clear the data table first, then capture the data from the web page and write it in. This makes sure each run only writes the latest data and finally exports the data as an Excel file. Once the run finishes, open the generated Excel file to check it. This time, both the content and the number of entries are totally correct. Besides that, if the data you want to capture is stored in the table tag structure of the web page, then congratulations, you'll save yourself the hassle of capturing data column by column. For example, the data table on this order page is a standard table structure. Hit F12 to check out the source code. Click the arrow in the top left corner, select any element in the table, and you'll see its parent node is a table tag. At this point, click Extract Data and pick an element inside the table. A prompt will pop up on the interface asking if you want to capture all columns in the table. Choosing to capture all columns means you'll get all the data in the table tag. Run it. And all the order data on the current page will be captured. Get element details is good for precisely capturing a single element or just a few elements that are in fixed positions. For example, getting a specific product name, a specific post title, and so on. Its result is a single piece of data. Get similar elements works well for capturing a group of similar elements that have the same structure but different content. For example, grabbing all product names, all post titles, and the like, its result is a list that includes the text from each element. Extract data is specifically for handling tabular data. For example, capturing all order information, getting post information, and so on. Its result is a structured list that contains all the relevant data. Simply put, when you need a single specific piece of data, use get element details. When you need a column of similar data, use get similar elements. When you need a table of structured data, use extract data.